Hi everyone, welcome to our webinar brought to you by Shine 360 and My Dental Marketing. Today we're going to be talking about trends and best practice in online marketing. And I've got the wonderful Carolyn Dean with me today, and she's going to be hosting the webinar for us. But to get started, as I mentioned, this is a Shine 360 webinar, and so I thought to get the ball rolling while we get some people joining our webinar today, I'll go through what Shine 360 is and give everyone a little bit of an overview and how you can join as well. That's why we flick over the slides. So awesome. So to give you a bit of background, what is Shine 360? So Shine 360 is our Henry Schein Henry Schein loyalty program, and it's focused on all of our independent practices. So an independently owned practice can join this program, and on one side where we want to give you product discounts and rebates on your account every month, we also want to go one step further and be able to offer your practice value in other ways outside of your purchasing of products. So how do we do that? We do that by offering you different solutions into your practice. So for example, you can get freight free, so you don't have to pay for your supplies to be delivered. You can get a rebate every single month on your account when you pay on time. And that could be in the vicinity of $2,000 to $3,000 every single year. Then if we look at the other side of that, you can see our business solutions where you can get things like patient finance discounts and savings on your high caps fees, which you would normally not be able to get discounts on. And just to share with you some of our partners. So as you can see, we've got some program partners here. I'd say most people actually recognize most of the logos that are here. So what we've done is we've actually partnered with these partners over the last 12 months to be able to bring to you savings and discounts that you wouldn't be able to get anywhere else. And as you can see, My Dental Marketing is part of that group, and we'll be going through what promotion is available for you today at the end of the webinar. With the partners that we've got, you can see I'm going to announce 2 new partners that are on board with our program for today. So first of all, we've got Apollo Films. And Apollo Films help you with your video advertising in your business. So if you want to do like a short 30-second clip to put onto Facebook, or you want to have a 2 or 3 minute promotional video that you can put on your website, Apollo Films can help you. And if you go to the Shine 360 website, you'll be able to find more information on how you can actually use the offer that they've got for you. And last but not least, we've got an internal offer from Henry Schein. So all of the equipment spare parts that you buy from us, so for your chairs and if you need a repair or a service, you can now get a 10% discount off all of your equipment spare parts every time you place an order. So that's offered to our elite members. So if you wanted to take up that offer, you can contact your territory manager and they'll be able to go through with you how that happens. And last but not least, just a quick snip, you also get a 15% discount from Handpiece Hotline, which all elite members are entitled to as well. So there's just a few savings that you can get by being a member of the program. And so that was a quick introduction, but now what I'm going to do is, before I give you over to Caroline, you might be asking how you join. You can join by contacting your territory manager, and you can complete the inquiry form that's on the website as well, and we can contact you. And it might take you a couple of weeks to get the appointment sorted, but that's okay. So without further ado, I'm going to pass you over to Carolyn, and she's going to go through with you how you can chat on today's webinar and ask any questions, because I know that once we get to the end, there could be lots of questions that you might have for her. Hi, Carolyn.
Hey, okay, am I live? There we go.
You are live.
Thank you, Jade. Just flipping over.
Okay.
Technology working, please work.
It is work.
Okay, so just to get things rolling, it would be great if you could say hello in the question or the chat box, just so we can see that you're online and that the technology is working for you and that you can actually hear us, which is one of these minor things So just let us know that you are there and live and can hear us. So Jade, are we seeing anybody replying?
Hello.
Okay, so have a little look.
There we go. Let me just
Beautiful.
go down here.
Okay.
Yep.
All right, fantastic. Okay, so today's webinar, as Jade said, we're talking about trends and best practice in online marketing. So I'm going to talk about where you should focus on your time, your money and your effort, because there's so many things that you could or should use to market your practice. So we're really going to give you priorities on what you should start with and where you should focus. And then obviously you need to understand about how to improve, what's missing, and give you some ideas about what you can do for your marketing. At the end, as Jade said, I want to talk to you briefly about the offer that we have for Shine 360 Elite clients. So this is something that is exclusive and available only for the 360 Elite clients, and also a discounted offer for any webinar attendees. There's also a copy of the slides, access to our Facebook group, and I'll talk more about that in a minute. And as we said, I will be taking questions at the end of the webinar. So anything that you hear me talk about, just type in the chat box, in the questions box, then Jade can make notes of these and get them to me at the end of the webinar. If we don't have time to go through all of your questions, if there is more information that you want, I do have a closed Facebook group. Okay, so it's Dental Marketing Secrets. That is the link. It looks a little bit like this. There is a copycat group, would you believe? So look for Dental Marketing Secrets. You will be asked how you've heard about it or what you want from the group. And so just say Henry Schein Hallis webinar and we can let you in. Okay, so we're going to start off with a poll to wake you up and see if you can work the technology as well as we can here. So we'd like to know where you are from today. So who's New South Wales, Queensland, Victoria, WA, or anywhere else? So just answer the polls.
It's going really well.
All coming in. Okay.
Another 5 seconds.
5 seconds,
quick,
and then we
quick.
will close it down.
Okay, here we go.
And then if the technology works, is that showing on the screen?
It will. There we go.
Beautiful. Okay. Well done, Queensland. You win today. That's cool. Okay. Hoping your weather's a bit warmer than here. We are still in winter. All right, so we will see if we can. Oh, technology's working, so you need to drop the poll, I think. Yep. So this is the test for me and Jay to see if we're awake today. Okay, we up? Beautiful. Okay, so I'm going to start the way that I start all of my webinars and seminars, and I want to just talk to you about the bigger picture. I know we're here to talk about online marketing, but I actually want to talk to you about the problems that I see with dental practices when I talk to you guys on a daily basis. So what I'm seeing and what you're seeing is increased competition. Absolutely no arguments there, locally and overseas. We're seeing that the corporates are coming or are there in most suburbs, and insurance providers are pushing the market down. I think everybody agrees that there is an oversupply of dentists nowadays, and you guys have got ever rising practice operating costs. Your patients are much more marketing savvy, and they're much more discerning. You've got to remember that dentistry is a discretionary spend. They have a choice whether they get the next iPhone or whether they get their implant. You are competing against lots more than just other dental practices. You are competing for your patients' attention and for their wallets. And when it comes to marketing, the challenges that I see is that you're probably being called and emailed and messaged constantly by marketing companies that are trying to sell you something. I guess that you've got friends, family, team members offering you advice on what you could or should be doing to improve your marketing. And yet your marketing is constantly evolving. There are so many things that you could or should do to market your practice. And I'm guessing that what you want to do is just focus on delivering great clinical services and treatments to your patients. So the 3 problems that I see specifically with marketing is that there's no plan. Many practices just do at their marketing, or they try a few things and there's no strategy, no plan. Wrong skills. So hopefully we're going to tick both of these off today, that I'm going to help you build a plan, and I'm going to hopefully give you some skills to help you on your way. And then the third one is burnt. There's so many sharks and cowboys in my industry, unfortunately, and so many practices have bought things that they don't want, don't need, and don't understand. So another poll, how do you actually feel about your practice marketing? How do you feel that you're doing? Are you happy? You feel like things are going really well? Neutral, not, okay, a few things you could do. Who's unhappy and who really isn't sure? So we'll put on the next poll. And again, see if you can answer those. Great. Fantastic. All right. Come on, let's see if anybody's doing really well. Who's brave enough? Although I would guess the fact that you're giving up your lunchtime is you're probably not doing that well.
I think we've got all the answers there. Let me just share that with everyone.
Okay, interesting. Really, really interesting. So neck and neck, doing okay and not happy, and a quarter of you don't really know. So thank you for sharing that information with us. It's good for us to know and good for us to see, but also good for you guys to, maybe compare yourself with the others. Okay, so a little bit about me. So why am I here, basically, and why am I telling you all of this stuff about marketing? So I am the Managing Director of My Dental Marketing. I have over 25 years in marketing and sales, and over 15 purely in the dental health and medical marketing area. And my why, why am I really here, is because I'm really passionate about educating you guys to understand the use of dental marketing in your practice. There are so many things that you could do or should do or might want to do, and I just find, and Jade and I were talking about this before we came online, is, there's so much confusion, and I really do need you to understand your marketing, because in today's environment, there is an oversupply of dentists. You really do need to understand this. And truly, I am really tired of speaking to dentists who have wasted time, money, effort, and opportunity on doing the wrong things to market their practice. I'm really proud to say that I actually got awarded the Dental Industry Professional Award last year at the ADIA, which was great in recognition of the work that I do and the webinars and seminars that I do for the great guys like Henry Schein Hallis. And I've also written a book. So if you haven't got it or you haven't read it, I know that Henry Schein are offering it, and you can also get it from the My Dental Marketing website, on Amazon, pretty much everywhere. And it's basically everything you want to know about your dental marketing. So it's written in a way that you can just open it up, have a look, checklists, there's case studies in there, flick through to what's relevant. So My Dental Marketing, who are we? We have been in business for 10 years. So we earlier this year celebrated our 10th birthday, which was really quite cool and an achievement. We are dental marketing specialists, work with over 700 practices in Australia and New Zealand. There's 11 of us in the business, and we also picked up the Marketing Award and the President's Award at the ADIA Awards last time they ran. And this is some of the team. Our photographer is male, so we're not completely all-female group. And why do we exist? What is our reason for being here? Is to help you guys become fully booked, to stay ahead of your competition, attract those important patients, retain your critical patients, and be in control of your business. And how can we help? We can help a practice wherever they are on their path. So wherever your practice is, whether you're in the planning stage, whether you're building your foundations, whether you're launching or needing to attract new patients, retain those patients, or just refine what you already have in place, we have solutions at every stage. So what does that really mean? It means that we can do the marketing for you. So everything from your branding, your online, website, social media, everything we'll talk about today, promotions, ongoing patient communication, we can do it for you. If you don't need somebody to do it for you, but need somebody to help you and think and strategize, we have a whole raft of consulting services. And obviously on the education side, we've got the book, doing the webinars, the seminars, and we're soon to be launching a membership site to teach you how to do your marketing. So now that you know about me, I'd love to know a little bit about you as well. So again, the penultimate poll, who here is practice owner, practice manager, who here is a member of the team, and who here is from the dental industry. So again, if you could reply, that would be great. Okay, fantastic. Really interesting spread. Okay, we'll just keep that going for a few more seconds. All right, beautiful. Oh, no.
Last one.
Okay, closing it down.
Yeah. And
let's have a look. Okay, welcome practice managers. Neck and neck with everybody else. Fantastic. So the winners, the practice managers. Well done, guys, that you are here to focus today. So that's really good. And welcome to the team members, practice owners, and dental industry. Hello. Okay, so back to the slides. Yes, working great. Okay, so introduction over, let's get into online marketing. So, you know, I said that the problem that lots of practices have is there is no plan, there's no understanding, no skills, all right? So to make things easy, when it comes to online marketing, people don't really know whether they should start doing social media, you know, record a video, you know, they don't know where they are on the path. So we've created 9 steps, okay, and this is in order of priority. So these are the things that I believe that you should be doing in order of priority. So if you've got number 1 and you're doing 1 well, great, look at number 2, number 3, number 4. So today's webinar, I will go through each of these points. There is a lot to cover, and I don't apologize for that. I really do want to make the most of your time. I believe that if I can give you too much information, happy days. The webinar is being recorded, isn't it, Jade?
it is, yeah.
So you will be able to have this recorded, the recording afterwards. You can pause it, you can take notes, okay? So I'm going to throw a lot of information at you, but that is a very conscious decision because I would rather use your time and give you lots of information so that you can come back to this. So I will fly by and I hope that is okay, but remember that you can ask questions and I will take the questions at the end. So number 1, I'm going to start with a website review and you thinking about your website. And quite honestly, why am I doing this? Because it's the center of your marketing wheel, okay? If you think about it, whatever else you do in your marketing, online or offline, people are always going to come to your website. You know, if I were to say there's an amazing restaurant, what's the first thing you do? You're going to look at them online. You're going to look at them on their website. So it is your number 1 priority, okay? So if you are thinking about doing anything else online and you know that your website is not good enough, stop. Okay, fix your website. It is your number 1 priority. It is your first point of contact when people look at you online, and people will be looking at you online. You know, and the stats say 97% of new patients will look at you online. So absolutely critical. Something that has changed is once upon a time, you know, maybe they'd hear about you through word of mouth, and they probably still will, but they will be polling their friends and they will compare you to other practices. Very few people nowadays will just take somebody's word for it. So I could say to Jade, you know, tell me about a great dentist. She would mention one. It's very rare that I would just go to their website and book in. They will compare you. Your practice will be compared. Okay, so high level, think about your website. You know, what do you want people to do when they arrive at your website, okay? What are the goals? Are you trying to get people to book in? Do you want them to find out more about you? You know, what is it you want them to do? Number 2, navigation, absolutely critical. They're there for a reason. They haven't just decided to surf a few dental marketing websites, dental practice websites because they've got nothing better to do with their time. They want to come to your website to find something else. So you need to make sure that navigation is clear, content is clear, and images are professional. So I'm going to talk a little bit about navigation. So people come to your website because they want to find out information about you. You know, can they find your phone number? Can they find your address? Can they book online easily? Can they find out about your services? Can they find out about your team? Okay, one of the most commonly visited pages on a dental website is the team page. So number 1 is home, number 2 is the team page. So there are critical elements to your website that you really need to pay attention to, and navigation is one of them. Second one is your content, okay? So lots of people come to me and they say, okay, well, you know, I want a website, but I don't want much content because nobody reads the content on a website, and I don't like big, busy websites. Okay, you've got to understand that the content on your website is absolutely critical. Okay, if you don't have enough content, if you don't have the right content, and if it's not structured well, then Google is not going to find your site. Okay, so if somebody's in your suburb and they're saying emergency dentist or emergency dentist near me or Invisalign, okay, and you haven't got the right content and the right structure on your website, they will not find your website, okay? So having one page per treatment is really important. You need to have enough content on your website for patients to find out, but also for Google. And then there's a certain way that people read online, and I'm going to give you an example. Okay, so imagine this is your bio page, and I'm sure that there's lots of bio pages that look just like this. You know, it's a whole ton of information. It's really hard to read. Nobody truthfully is going to read it, and nobody truthfully is going to find the information that they're looking for. There is a way to structure content online, okay? Make it easy to read, make it easy to scan. So quite simply, you use headings, bullet points, bold, image, very, very important, quotes, calls to action. Okay, so this is a really good slide for you to kind of print out, have a look at your website and see whether your content actually is easy to scan, whether it's been formatted in the right way. Another really important element is, we've talked about navigation, we've talked about content, about the images, okay? You need to have the right images on your website. It is critical that your practice looks different to your competition. We've talked about there being an oversupply. So the easiest way for your practice to look different is by using you guys, using photos of the team, using photos of the practice. You know, your website needs to reflect what patients see when they come into your practice. And a really important point here is that people are blind to stock images. So if you are using stock images on your website, there will be no emotional connection when people come to your site. They will not make any judgment on your practice. They will just bland out and see stock images and not make any decision, okay? And you want people to have a feeling about your practice. You want people to have a feeling about your team. So here's a few examples of some practice websites that we've developed using different images. Okay, so this practice looks kind of relaxed, a little bit fun, a little bit quirky, small, friendly. You know, this will appeal to some people and not to others, but that's great because people will make a judgment and they'll say, yeah, I like this. You know, I think I'd feel comfortable here. This one is a little bit more corporate, a little, you know, a bit darker. Again, people are going to make some decisions about this practice, you know, but they're going to see people and they're going to make an impression. And the final one I think is really cute and great because it's a play on, you know, the good old lady with an apple photo, but it gives you a feeling about the practice, about what you might experience when you walk in there. So using photos are really, really important. Great photos means great marketing. And this final one I'm using, and it's and hopefully I will never offend the practice that uses this. So this is near to where I grew up in the UK. I understand that not all of you can afford stock professional photos, but if you are using stock images, I really need you to think cleverly about what you're using. You know, you look at the practice here, and there's why choose us. There's the dental team. There's the support staff. You know, we know that these are photos of the actual team, so don't put them on there. Okay, if you can't afford the right professional images, then don't use the wrong stock images. So go back to your website, have a look at the images, see whether they represent you and your team and have that right feeling. And mobiles, you know, this looks familiar the whole world wide. Now everybody's on their mobile phone. So to put it bluntly, how does your website look on your mobile phone? When was the last time you checked? You know, who here would pick up the phone and start dialing dentist number 1? Nobody. Okay, dentist number 2, much easier to navigate, much more clear. You know, I'm guessing that everybody would pick up dentist number 2. Okay, so your website is critical, and it's absolutely critical that it works on a mobile device. There is a way that you can test to see if it is responsive and mobile friendly, and it's called the Google Mobile Friendly Test. So just type that into Google, and then you pop in your domain name, your URL for your website, and you will get a thumbs up or a thumbs down from Google. Okay, so websites, you know, please go back, have a look, a critical look at your website, think about your goals. What do you want people to do when they get to your website? You know, what images are you using? Do they reflect your team? Do they have the same feeling? You know, what's your content doing? Have you got enough content? Have you got the right content? And is it structured in the right way? You know, and really importantly, mobile friendly test, does it work on all devices? And go back to your website designer, go back to an expert and get them to fix any problems. I do have a website webinar that I've recorded, which goes into things in much more detail. So if you do want the recording, pop it into the chat. Or if you're watching a recording of this webinar, then pop into the Dental Marketing Secrets group and I can get that sent to you. So I'm going to plow on and ask any questions. I will take them at the end. So Google My Business. I'm hoping that all of you know what Google My Business is, and I'm hoping that all of you have claimed it. Okay, so Google My Business is the little bit in the home page of Google, the front page of Google, that has the map that hopefully has your business listed on it. Why is this number 2? Why am I talking to you about this as a second priority? Because the top 3 in the Google My Business listings gets 50% of traffic, okay? So it's a way that you can try to get onto the homepage of Google. This is what it looks like if you've claimed your listing. So you should have a photograph, you should have your team hours, you should have your services in there, you should add as much information as you can. So if you've not claimed your Google My Business listing, please do so. It is free. Okay, they will ask you lots of questions. Make sure you answer them. Okay, if Google asks you a question, make sure you answer it. Okay, you need to verify your location. So they will say, okay, we will send you a postcard, or they will phone the practice to make sure that it is you claiming your listing, which is really important, so your competitors cannot. Add some photos, and if you do have reviews on there, please make sure that you are responding. So please ask questions about anything that I've talked to there. Okay, so priority 3, we've talked about websites. Now, websites are the most important thing when it comes to attracting new patients. Email newsletters are the most important thing when it comes to retaining your existing patients. So why am I talking about patient retention? Truthfully, because it costs 5 to 10 times the cost to get new patients in. And it's one of the biggest problems that I see with dental practices. I talk to so many practices and they're all saying, how do I get new patients? How do I get new patients? And very few, truthfully, are saying, how do I keep my existing patients? You know, 5 to 10 times more to get new patients in, guys. It's really, really critical. You know, and when you sell your practice, you are selling goodwill. You are selling your existing patient base, okay? Really important to think about your existing patients. And the studies show, and in my book I got all the stats and I talk about this in great detail, but one of the studies are showing that patients leave because of a perception that you do not keep in touch, that practices do not keep in touch, okay? And if you think that phoning postcard once a year for your recalls is staying in touch, then you are wrong, okay? Patients will be leaving. You know, think about it, there is an oversupply of dentists. There are dentists that are wanting your patients. Okay, so you need to think about keeping them. So regular communication with your existing patients is critical. Now, do you Tell your patients all of your services. Do they know that you've just started doing Zoom whitening? Do they know that one of your team has just done Invisalign training? Okay, I would guess that the majority of practices are not informing their patients. Now you have the golden gift of a database. You know, you use your practice management software, you can get your patients' email addresses, you can ask them for their permission to send email newsletters to them, and you can start marketing directly to them. You don't have to buy the list, you don't have to try and get to them through social media, you can just ask them. So email newsletters are absolutely critical. And, you know, how often do you send them? Send them on a monthly basis. You know, start gathering your emails now and validating them. Make sure that you have beautifully written email newsletters with promotions, if necessary, that look on brand with your team photos, with your logo there, and start sending your email newsletters. Very, very, very highly recommended. So again, ask the questions, okay? We can catch up on this at the end. Have we got some coming through?
Yep,
beautiful.
yep.
Okay, thanks guys. I am zooming, so we do get more time at the end, all right? So, search marketing. All right, this is where we talk about things like SEO, about pay-per-click, about words that you've probably heard of, don't really understand, okay? But the reality is you may have the most beautiful website in the world, okay? But if nobody can find it, you know, what is the point? So you really do need to think about where your website ends up on the Google search, all right? 93% of internet experiences start with the search engine, okay? So you need to understand the terms of SEO, pay-per-click. This truly is the hardest subject, and it is the part of the book that I wrote last, and it's the bit that changes constantly. So very high level today, because we could spend hours on search engine optimization, on Google Ads, on pay-per-click, but I need you just to understand these terms, okay? So we've talked about Google My Business, okay? What we haven't talked about is pay-per-click, PPC, which is Google AdWords, and what we haven't talked about is organic search, and that's what this section is. So that top bit, that bit above the map, is where you pay, okay? You pay to appear, and this is called pay-per-click, okay? The bit below is organic search. It's search engine optimization, and it's where your website effectively has to grow to be there. Okay, so pay-per-click, that bit at the top of the page, okay? This is good if you've got a brand new practice and you need patients, okay? Or if you've got a new website and it's ranking nowhere, because it won't for at least 6 months, and you need new patients, okay? This is good if you've got an associate and you need new patients quickly. You can get very specific and you can get very targeted, and you can say, you know, Invisalign, and you can set the area. You can say emergency dentist. You might want to go wider, but you can be very, very specific. The beauty of this is that you can set specific areas and specific terms, and hopefully you're going to show up when somebody is Googling that term. So you absolutely know that people are searching for a dentist. Okay, so it's not like putting an advert in the local newspaper and just hoping that somebody opens at the page that you're advertising, and just hoping that somebody happens to read your ad. Okay, this is very, very targeted. So it can be great if you want to do targeted. It can be great if you've got, you know, an urgent need for patients, or an urgent service that you want to promote, treatment that you want to promote. You can turn it on, you can turn it off, okay? And if you are using the wrong company for this, if you're using a company that doesn't really understand dentistry, then you could end up with a whole ton of pain in truth. So you need to make sure that who you're talking to really understands dentistry really understands, your business really understands what services and treatments you're trying to promote, okay? And then you need to have a constant communication in place with your provider because you need to track these results. So that was pay-per-click. This is organic search. Okay, so when people say search engine optimization, this is what they're talking about. So this is done by numerous things. You need to have a really well-built website, and we talked about that earlier. We need to have the right content. It needs to be structured in the right way, okay? So fundamentally, you need to have the right website built in the right way. And then you need to build content out there on the World Wide Web. And this can be link, it can be content relevant. You know, you need to be adding new content to your website. It might be posting on social media and linking back, okay? But this takes over 6 months to achieve, all right? But the great thing about this, just like planting a garden, is you plant the seeds, okay, and you look after them and you grow and they will start growing, okay? With SEO, the work that you do to build your SEO is there. You spend the money and it starts to grow if you're doing it properly. The problem with pay-per-click is as soon as you've paid the money, your money has been spent, okay? There's no permanency. So SEO is much better for the long term, and it should be your long-term gain for any dental practice, for any website, okay? Because it does have a longer effect from pay-per-click. Okay, so what should you do? You know, should you do pay-per-click? Should you do SEO? The reality is all practices need to do SEO, okay? They need to think SEO, they need to have something in place. If you are doing pay-per-click because of, you know, you need to fill your books for whatever reason, that should be a short-term strategy. Even if you're doing pay-per-click, you need to think about your SEO, okay? So use pay-per-click in addition, not in lieu of search. So it is a complex subject. I am doing it quickly, but you need to know the terms. You need to start tracking this. So talk to your website person, make sure that they've got Google Analytics installed on your website and that you can start seeing results. You know, monitor, and then think about, you know, what do you need to do? Do you need more SEO? Do you need pay-per-click? Or are you okay? Does your website need nothing at all? Okay, so more questions and we're over to social media. So I have done another webinar on this, so I'm going to fly through this, but again, if you put it in the Facebook group, if you ask the questions here, I can get that webinar sent to you as well. But once upon a time, I would say, you know, do you really need to think about social media? You know, many practices at the time were going, seriously, who on earth would ever think about dentistry on social media? You know, the reality is now 69% of Australians are on social media, and pretty much across the board when I talk to dental practices, a third of dental practices are on social media, a third are starting, and a third are considering it. So I'm guessing that you guys are probably fitting into one of those thirds. I do recommend that you think about it, okay? Because if you're not there, your competition is. Okay, people want to find out about you. It's one of the key ways that patients are going to assess you. They're going to look at your website, they're going to look at social media, they're going to look at your online reviews. Okay, they do want to know about the human side of you, the relaxed side of you. And what to share, and I'm going to show you some examples, but it's a very visual platform. You need to really think about how you are visually presenting your practice to your patients. Okay, the analogy I use is think about social media as a dinner party. Okay, it's a two-way conversation. You need to be interesting. You need to share information that people want to see and listen to. And truthfully, guys, you know, procedural images, scary images, it's not appropriate on social media unless your target market, unless you're a specialist that's trying to connect with other dental specialists on social media. The reality is most of you are probably general dentists and your patients do not want to see scary images on their social media feed. So I'm going to just show you a few examples of what to post, and in the webinar that I can share with you, I go through a lot more depth, more examples, more ways of using social media. So think about what makes you different. We've got a practice here that has hot towels. They're talking about hot towels. Another practice here does a lot of work for charity and they are constantly posting about the things that they are doing and the charitable area. Practice on the left, they had their first anniversary, so of course they were talking about that before the event and a huge amount afterwards. If you're running promotions, again, social media is the place to go. Having images which are branded, really important for your brand strength, to get people recognizing your name. So professional photos which have your logo, have statements about what makes you different and what you believe is really effective. And then obviously photos of your team, photos of your staff, photos of your patients, photos of your location. So with social media, okay, take it slowly. I know it's quite overwhelming, and I know I've done like 3 minutes on it, and it's a huge subject, okay? Take it slowly, and do not expect that you are going to get millions of likers overnight and a huge amount of interaction. You are not, okay, because you're going to set yourself up to fail. Make sure it's somebody's responsibility, so they are your social media person on the team. Limit their time, obviously. Make sure that you're posting great content consistently. You know, think about whether you should be using paid advertising, because social media is a paid platform. Track, and then you need to know APRA guidelines. Okay, so if you do want a copy of the webinar, again, pop it in the chat. We can get that sent to you, or if you're watching my recording, go to the Dental Marketing Secrets Facebook group and then just message me there. Okay, and again, ask the questions, we'll take them at the end. All right, step 6, blogging. And I am guessing that very few of you will probably even know what a blog is. So a blog is a part of your website that used to be called news. So remember, once upon a time, you might have a newsletter that you might print out and give to your patients, okay? It is news, it's newsworthy. So this is quite simply a part of your website where you put news, okay? Where you add additional information. You're probably thinking, so why is this important? The reason this is so important is because of SEO, okay? We talked about content being important. We talked about you needing to refresh your website. This is how you refresh your website. This is how you update your website, okay? When Google rates your website, it looks for relevant and recent content. So blogs are really important. The reason I love blogs is because you've then got something to share back from your social media pages, okay? So if you've got a blog post which is, 5 reasons that you need to send your under 5-year-old to the dentist, you can then link back to social media. And the thing I really love is because once you've got this content on your website, you can then put it into email newsletters, okay? So everything I've talked about before, SEO, social media, email newsletters, the blog almost holds the answer to all of this. You start blogging, you start getting that great content or getting somebody to write it for you. It means that everything else ticks through your SEO, social media, and email newsletters. And why else do I love it? Because it shows that when patients come to your website that you care, that you understand this, that you are a centre of excellence. So if you want, if you are, a children's dentist and you want to focus there, you can add more and more and more information, which turns you into an expert in your field. Okay, people will see your blogs and think, wow, this practice really knows what they're talking about, comparing you to one of your competition that is not adding anything to their content makes you much more attractive and much more knowledgeable. So if you're thinking blogs, and I do recommend that you do, brainstorm some ideas and then write your blogs, okay? Do batch writing or, get somebody else to do it. So we write blogs for practices, but write them in one go, then schedule them. And if you are thinking of writing, make sure that you've got a minimum of 300 words and you always include an image, okay? So hit me up with more questions. Okay, step 7 is my favorite one. Okay, Jade, you can answer all the questions on this one. All right, reputation management. 90% of customers, and we know this, guys, prefer word of mouth. Okay, we know that the #1 way that you will get new patients is word of mouth. What has changed is word of mouth has moved online. Okay, people are going to be hearing and looking to see what others are saying about your practice. So 70% of Australians trust online reviews. Okay, so, you know, think of the world we're living in nowadays. Now, who here has gone on holiday and not looked at a review at the place that you're booked? You know, probably very few of you. Okay, and it's exactly the same. Okay, when people are looking for a new dentist, they are going to be looking at your reviews. All right, your reviews matter. So why do they matter? They matter because you need to know. You need to know the good, the bad, and the ugly about what patients are saying about you. You know, there's a lot of practices that stick their head in the sand and they don't want to know. But I would argue and say, well, you know, if they're saying that you are the friendliest practice in your suburb, is that great? You know, and then can you go back to your team and say, guess what people are saying? If they're saying we're always left waiting, okay, do you think you could do something about this? If they're saying that you have the friendliest receptionist or the grumpiest receptionist, you can also do something about this. So it's really important that you know what people are saying about you, the good, the bad, and the ugly. So I do need you to think about your reviews, to start monitoring it, you know, and to respond to the good and the bad and the ugly, okay? You need to learn what people are saying about you, and a really, really important point here is that you cannot ask for reviews, okay? The APRA advertising guidelines say that you cannot ask for reviews and you cannot use them in any form of your marketing. So I have no doubt there will be questions there, because there always are. We will take as many questions as we can. Anything that we don't, I will answer on the Facebook group. Okay, step 8, nearly there, guys. So the use of videos. Okay, so 80% of people use videos to research. So this is anything and everything. And think about your own behavior now. People like to consume videos. They find it much easier. Okay, so there's 2 types of videos. You know, there's the high quality professional videos, and these have a place, on your website, okay, on your email newsletters. So this is the office tour, this is the procedural videos. These are the very high quality videos. Second type is the quick videos. You know, everybody's got, probably not a broken screen and phone, or I hope not, but everybody's got their own smartphones nowadays. You can do quick and easy videos on your phones, and these have a place. These are great for social media. These are great for your blogs, okay? Quick, relaxed videos also have a place. So, you know, types of videos, what can you do? You know, the world's, you know, your oyster for this. You can do professional videos, the introduction, the tours, the procedures. But the DIYs, you know, you can just be more relaxed and you can interview a member of your team. You know, you can just talk about your practice. You can talk about, you know, what you believe in. You can talk about new treatments, and it's okay to be relaxed, and it's okay for them to be homemade. You know, as long as you're using them in the right place. You know, please don't ever do a homemade video and put it on your front and center of your website, but it's great for social media. Yeah, both can be really effective and both have a place. And just a little example of a practice we were working with. They wanted some help on how to record their own videos, and they literally sat down. They got a member of the team that was comfortable in front of the camera. They brainstormed a list of ideas about what patients want to know about, and they started recording just a bunch of little videos. Okay, now 43 people shared this video, 3,500 people viewed this. Okay, and there was pages and pages and pages of comments. So, you know, every practice can do this if you're game. Okay, so with your videos, think about what you're trying to achieve. You know, look at your budget, see whether, you know, you can afford the high end, or whether it is, you know, just sitting in front of video yourself and having a go. You know, look at your team, see whether they've got the skills, whether they are comfortable, you know, and decide which is appropriate. So ask some questions. Final step, guys. Okay, so, you know, we've talked about 8 things very quickly. All right, but the most important step, truthfully, is reviewing, okay, and assessing what you have in place. There's no point in you going off and doing 5 years worth of email newsletters and not reviewing it, okay? Or doing social media and not going back and checking what people are doing. So you need to assess what's happening. You need to assess whether the marketing you're doing is working. You need to track your spending, and you need to know whether you're getting a good return on investment. So the money that you're spending on that type of marketing, are you getting a good return on investment? So what I always say is, if you spend $1 on your marketing, $3 should come back to you as a practice, okay? So assess everything, track everything, measure everything, and make sure that your messaging and your online presence are always up to date. So if you're thinking about starting any of these elements, okay, what do I recommend? I recommend that you take it one step at a time, okay? I really don't recommend that you do steps 1 to 8 today, okay? Pick one, okay? The most highest priority, pick that one and do it to the best of your ability, please, okay? There's no point in doing any of these half-baked. Just make sure that you're doing it to the best of your ability, and be consistent. So if you're doing email newsletters and you're committing to email newsletters, then make sure that you can do it once a month. Or if you're doing social media, commit to how many days a week you're going to do it, and then track. And the reality, guys, is that the longer that you sit on this and the longer that you leave things, your competition are going to get ahead of you, okay? It is a competitive world out there. Really think about what you want to do strategically. So we have raced around the chart. I hope that it's given you a clear understanding of some of the elements. We obviously can't go deeper with the time, but I just hope it started you to think about these elements. Now, I want to specifically talk about the Shine 360 offer that we have for elite clients. So I'm sure that some of you were saying, okay, that's all great, but where do I begin? What's working in my practice and what do I need to focus on? And that's exactly what the online review that we're delivering for Shine 360 covers. So it is free for elite customers and it is valued at $1,500. And if you are not an elite customer, we are able to offer this to webinar attendees for half price of $750. So what is the online review? It will tell you what is and isn't working in your online marketing. So everything we've talked about, you get reviewed, okay? So it's great for a practice that you don't know for sure what's working, what isn't working, why, and what you should focus on, and how to get the maximum return. So what you get is a 30-page report of what works, what needs to change, why, the priorities you need to focus on, and how to get maximum return on that. And then you get a 1-hour call with me to go through your personalised report, and so that I can answer any questions that you have on that or anything with regards to your marketing. So it is free for elite customers. You go to the Henry Shine 360 page, you will find a link to our page. Landing page, you then will fill in the form and we can contact you to move that forward. Just to remind you that we do have the Facebook group. So if you do have more questions, then we can cover that in the group. And then before I go to questions, just a poll. If you do want any information or if you want us to contact you to talk specifically about the services that we can offer, we obviously can help you in all of the ways that we've talked about. Then just fill in the poll and then we can contact you after the webinar. Okay.
Might be a second.
Okay. So this is if you want us to contact you.
Yep.
We can provide more information on the services that we can follow.
A few more seconds.
Okay, great. Okay, so we are at the end now, and so we've got a whole 5 minutes to answer.
We've got a few questions.
Questions. So this is where Jade has to, do you want to put your camera on?
Ah.
Go on.
Okay, here we go.
Okay, so I will look here.
Okay,
Jade.
So this looks like it's in relation to when you said you couldn't ask for online reviews.
Yep.
So it's asking how can they encourage the reviews then?
Okay. All right. So the question is, how do you encourage online reviews? You can't, unfortunately, guys. APRA guidelines are very clear, and you cannot ask for reviews, I'm afraid. Okay. Just so you know, the APRA are actively auditing dental practices, and you could end up with a fine of $5,000 to $10,000 reported to the dental board, and worst case scenario, you could end up with a court case. So they are auditing social media, reviews, and your websites. And again, for those of you that sign up for the Facebook group, that I've actually done a little video that's on there, and I can reshare that again, that talks specifically about the APRA guidelines and about what are the common mistakes that I see. So in answer to your question, sorry guys, you cannot ask for reviews.
It was a good one. And so the next one we've got from Ronald is, I wonder how to stop my email newsletter going to spam.
Okay. Oh, Ronald, you need to.
Question.
Yeah, it's a good question again. The reality is, many of them will go to spam. You need to get patients to approve your email address. So the email address that it comes from, they need to put it into an approved list. So it's a hard one, but it can happen. And you know what you need to remember again is, you know, more frequently that you do this, the more frequently you communicate with your patients. You know, if you're saying, hey, we're starting an email newsletter, we're going to start sending it out. This is the email address. Please, can you approve it? Okay.
Thank you. So the next one, Leanne's asking, how do I know if my website works on a mobile device?
Okay, thank you, Leanne. All right, this question is quite easy. All you need to do is go into Google and type Google mobile friendly test. All right, then it will come up with a website, and then you literally type in the domain name of your website, and it will run a report, and you will literally get the view of how Google views your website, and it will say yes or no. So you'll get a red or a green. Okay, so it's very, very, very clear whether Google views your website as mobile friendly or not. And an important point for you to remember is that if it's not mobile friendly, you do get penalized by Google. Okay, so patients won't like it, but also Google will not like it.
And what was the website again?
Google mobile friendly test.
Okay. I think we've got time for one more question.
Okay.
If you add a link to a different website to your website, does that count as content?
Links are good for SEO, yes. Okay, so does it count as content? Yes, it does. But I do recommend that if all you're doing is adding links to your website, then you need to think a little bit more thoroughly. So you need to have good content. You need to have enough content. But links out are important. But I do recommend that you are, you know, back to the blog post, 300 words. So if you are linking it to, I don't know, the Invisalign page, and there's maybe videos on the Invisalign landing page, you know, write something about, say, you know, at our practice, we deliver Invisalign, you know, we've got X years of experience, you know, make sure that you are writing something, 300 words about that link, and then that will be the most effective way to have the link added.
One more?
One more.
One more? How quickly can you answer? How do I know if I've claimed my Google business listing?
Okay. When you Google your business listing, pretty much all dental practices, unless you're a brand new practice, will be there listed. Okay. If you then click on your practice name, further down, it will have a claim your listing if you haven't claimed it. Okay, so it will be very, very clear. Again, if you add this question, who asked the question?
Leanne.
Leanne. Okay, so Leanne, if you add this question into the Facebook page, I can actually do a little video and show you how to do this. But it will say claim your listing, and then you literally click on claim your listing and follow the steps through. Sometimes there are practices where a previous employee has claimed the listing on their behalf, and they've lost contact, and they've lost access to it. So what you can actually then do is you can actually contact Google and say, this person's left, we now need to attach it to this email address. So it can be done quite easily.
Okay,
All
thank
good?
you. Thanks, Carolyn.
My pleasure.
It was an awesome webinar. I'm sure even I've got lots more questions I think I could ask you. So this webinar will be available tomorrow. You'll get a link to be able to view it again if you want to. And you'll also get some, if you want to ask any more questions to myself or to Carolyn, and about how you can join the Shine 360, or how you can visit My Dental Marketing as well. As you can see, you've got the mydentalmarketing.com.au there, and you can ask questions through that website to Carolyn as well. So thank you for joining us.
Great. Thank you, guys, and thank you, Henry Shine.
Enjoy the rest of your day.
Thanks. Bye.